Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Michelle here. If you are new to this channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so the next time I upload a video, you'll get a notification and you can come on over here and check us out. Also, if you're new, make sure you go back and look at the playlist of Operation Debt Freedom, starting with the introduction video and then just watch them in order so it can bring you up to where we are now. Now, where are we today? Today is January 29th. We are about to get finished with the month of January, and guess what, guys? I bust my budget wide open. How did you do? How did you do for your budget? Now that I'm being more mindful of the budget, because like I told you before, I've been doing a budget for years. Now that I'm being more mindful of it, now I got to start making some changes. Where did I bust my budget? I bust my budget when it came to food. Now, my original budget for food was $750 to feed a family of 5/6. Because like I said before, the oldest that's living in the house right now, he has a job. He'll buy some food for himself. But every once in a while, he'll touch some of the food that I bought that I had planned out for the week. But so I still gotta take that into consideration when I'm spending the money on the food. But I gotta go back and look because last time I checked, I think I spent about almost $1,200 in food, and I did have to pull from savings in order to buy some food. And also remember, I used some of the money in our food budget to pay for their breakfast and lunch meals at school. So like two of our kids is $4. I think it's $4 a day for two of them, and then the third one is $4.25 a day. So I count up the days that they're going to be in school, that they're in school, and then I multiply that by, the daily amount, and then I go ahead and put that onto their account for a 2-week period. So every time I get paid, I count out the days for the 1st through the 15th, however many days they're in school, multiply that by the price per child, then I have to put money on their individual accounts. And then when the 15th comes around, I get paid again, and I look at how many days between the 16th through the 31st that they're going to be in school, and then I take 425 times how many days, $4 times how many days, and then I put it on their accounts. Now, if they still have money remaining from the previous 2 weeks, if they didn't use all their money, sometimes I may subtract that out and then just make the difference just to cover that. So we'll see. I haven't done the one yet for the 1st through the 15th of February. And February 1st, it is an e-learning day, so they will be at home. So I have to make sure we have food for them to have breakfast and lunch at home on that Wednesday morning. So I was going through, and I had earlier this month, I had went through and I started cleaning up my workspace, because that's one thing that clutters my mind, is seeing all of the paperwork and all the stuff that's work, and then over here it's like stuff for the house and just paperwork everywhere. So I'm starting to get organized in my area, because this year is a year of not only really taking intentional effort to get out of debt, but also looking at the whole cleansing and clarity for this year. That's something that my husband and I want to do. He wants more clarity for the year. I want more cleansing for the year. But I would like to have both, cleansing and clarity. And in this process, the debt will also be under that whole cleansing thing, because I want to cleanse some of this debt out, because y'all, today I got a little bit upset, because I was like, I don't like worrying. And the Bible tells us, don't worry. It tells us don't worry about anything. Be anxious for nothing. That's one of my promises from the Bible that I like to hold on to. But I get a reaction, and it's not that I'm worried. I don't even know if I call it worry. Maybe it is worry, but it is frustration. I do get frustration. I have to check myself real quick, and I have to say, Lord, forgive me. Help me to not get upset. Take this off my back, because I don't like worrying or thinking about how much money I have to buy for food. food was one of those areas that at one point was not that, I guess, important to me. I knew you had to eat, but I never really thought about the importance of, or that I gotta spend all this money for food, but they do gotta eat. Like, I don't want to have this attitude or this negative thing towards food, because food is a necessity for life. I mean, you can fast, of course, you can go 40 days without eating, but the food that we eat helps to build our bodies. It feeds our mitochondria, the energy. It feeds the food to the mitochondria so that the mitochondria can create ATP, which ATP is what gives us the energy and keeps us going. And so it took me like a year or so to realize, telling myself, don't fuss about the amount you're spending on food. Now I just have to look at buying the food that we need versus the food that we want. So I have to readjust that. But even today, when we went and got something to eat, it like, no, I don't have the money for this. Like, and I had to but I don't like that. I want to freely be able to buy food and not have to count the cost for food. So that's one of my major prayers. And I forgot to start my video off this way. Usually I start my video off by saying, beloved, whatever you find your hands to do it all to the glory of God. And so I want the things that I do be for God's glory. So not only as I'm going through this Operation Debt Freedom thing, I'm noticing things about my own self, my thoughts, my feelings, the irritations, the happiness, the different feelings that I'm getting out of this, and how I am checking my character and my responses. So this Operation Debt Freedom is more than just about getting out of debt. It's about getting out of certain characteristics that are not becoming of a Christian or a believer, coming out of that and coming into faith and trust in God. And so I hope you guys are I don't want to say you're experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing, but I'm hoping that as you're going through this Operation Debt Freedom process, that you're also noticing other areas in your life where it's starting to unpeel and you're starting to work on different parts of who you are in this process. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly. I don't even know if it makes sense to you, but I just noticed that in this process, I'm praying and I'm feeling like something is transforming inside of me, and I want some of this stuff that's not like Jesus to come out of me and to bubble up out of me and just go away and then be replaced with the workings of the Holy Spirit working in me. I want to have those characteristics of peace and joy and gentleness and patience and long suffering, and I want to have those type of characteristics. I don't want to have to complain about feeding my family. I don't want to have to complain about putting gas in the car. I don't want to complain if somebody needs shoes or if we need a new jacket or whatever. I don't want to complain about school fees and things of that nature. So we are going to leave January behind. In a couple of days, January will be gone. So I'm just looking, I'm going to finalize my January budget, but then I'm going to just go ahead and say January is done. I'm going into February. If you have the Every Dollar app that I had recommended using, or whatever app you're using to keep track of your budget, go ahead and go to the next month and create it. In the Every Dollar app, it's going to ask you if you want to copy over the same budget from the previous month. So you can go ahead and copy that over into February and then go make some adjustments, because you want to make sure that at the top where it tells you what you have remaining, you want to make sure it says every dollar is budgeted. this is an every dollar budget. So you want to make sure this is nothing there. It needs to be a zero. So whatever monies that you're going to have coming in, you want monies going out, and you want it to be a zero every dollar budget. Now, I've done ours already for February, and I went back and I adjusted the things that I know that we're not going to be paying for in February that we did pay for in January. I have not got my oil change yet, but I do have a coupon that I'm going to use and get my oil change. Right now it shows, I think I have like $100 and some odd dollars. I can't look at it right now because I'm recording on my phone right now and I don't have my laptop with me, but I think I have about $100 and some odd dollars left to budget for February. And so I'm going to be watching my food purchases a little bit closer and making sure that we just purchase what we need for the week or for the weeks that the money is for, and try to stick to that to see if we can really stick to that budget. And then I need to go ahead and see if I can put in my oil change. And then I realized we got the oil change in my van, so we need to get the oil change in his car because we had got them changed at the same time last. So we're going to have to get an oil change in both of the vehicles. Now, please share your comments below. How did you do with January? What is there some areas you can improve on? Food is a big thing for me. I mean, before I got married, I didn't really care about food like that. You know, growing up, your parents bought your food. You went to school, you had food. Then when I got out, I went into the military. They feed you 3 square meals a day. And then when you get out, on your own and you're like, okay, why is nobody preparing food for me anymore? Now you got to start fending for yourself. And then when you get in a relationship and the guy is like, well, what do you want to go to eat? And you're like, I don't know what I feel like eating. And I still struggle with that to this day. Today it happened. My husband asked me, what did you want to eat? And I'm like, I don't know what I want to eat. And so, you know, when I was single, I just went to fast food and got food. And I know that wasn't healthy, but I would just go to fast food, get food. If I had friends, I'd go over their house and eat, or I'd buy like very minimum stuff at the house that I could just easily put together because I honestly didn't feel like cooking. And so once we got married, and I did come into a blended family. So once I got married, I came into a family of children, young children that I needed to cook for because I didn't want us just going out to eat. I realized, no, we can't eat out like that. And so it was a struggle for me. It was something to like learn. I was excited at first, but after a while, I kind of got a little weary of it. Like, is this all you do? Because it just felt like all you did was cook every day. It's like you went to the store, you cooked. That's all it felt like, because initially I wasn't working. I was a stay-at-home mom, and it just felt like that's all you did was cook, clean the kitchen, cook, clean the kitchen, cook, clean the kitchen. And so I was like, is this what life is about as a mother? Like, cook, clean, go to the grocery store, cook, clean, go to the grocery store, cook, clean. And so, but you know, as the children get older and they start to learn how to cook on their own, they do their own breakfast and they do their own lunch. I still do the dinner part unless we tell them it's free fall. You can just, whatever's in the refrigerator, you can eat it for dinner. But coming up with a meal plan was a struggle for me, and it's still kind of a struggle coming up with quality food menus. And you can say, hey, go online and look up meal planning and get these meals and stuff. But one, some of the meals you got to know how to cook them, make them taste good. Two, does everybody like it? I'm not really into the experimental part right now. I don't really feel like wasting my money on food to experiment to see if they will like it. So right now I'm sticking to what I know they will eat. And I just got to make sure nobody eats it any other time but the time that we're going to eat it for dinner. But I can't wait. I'm excited when I can come back and tell you guys I'm not worried about buying groceries anymore because we have the money to buy groceries. And so I got to stick to my 750. I got to stick to my 750 because that's all we have at this moment. For January, I had to use some money in savings to buy groceries. I had to use money in savings to buy our daughter some shoes. Had to use savings to take care of a few other things. But I can't, if the savings isn't there to use for February, I'm not going to be able to do the extra. So it's like, okay, we really have to hone in and pay attention. Be more, just pay attention and don't do any like mindless shopping just because that's what you've always done. Be mindful of the things that you're buying. And so another thing I want to say before I get off of here, go ahead and get your February budget together. Go ahead and review where you are in your debt. So I realized we didn't have the money, so I can't pay the little $100 or whatever. That's the lowest debt that we owe to someone. And so I don't have the money to go to that. So I haven't really touched my debt as far as extra payments. But I have, I did make the minimum payments on all of our debts. So we do have, a little decrease in some of the debt. So I want you to review your debt, see where you are, and get an updated sheet. So I want you to have an original sheet with all your original debt. So that's your static debt sheet. So you can always go back to it and say, this is how much debt I started with. And then you'll have an active sheet that changes every month. So now you can see where you currently stand and you can see the difference. Well, I was here, but now I'm here. And if you want to do that on an Excel spreadsheet to make it easier, that's what I do. I do have a static piece of paper, the debt snowball list, the Dave Ramsey debt snowball list. So I do have it here that shows where I'm starting from as far as the debt. But I do have an Excel spreadsheet that I keep that updated with the most current budget. So if we made a car payment, the car loan amount went down a couple of $100, that Excel spreadsheet has the updated amount. And then I put the date that I updated it. So I did that on Friday, a couple of days ago. I went to all of my accounts and I found out what the current the current payoff amounts are. And I updated everything. I updated all my credit cards. I updated the student loan. I updated the car payments. And I updated all the other loans. And I updated the real estate, the house mortgage. So now all that's been updated. And I'm not going to touch that again until the end of next month. Now I was listening in because I'm doing some, I'm listening to people who talk about debt, finances, money, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm trying to glean all this information from people and what I can apply and share with you guys. What can I apply in my life as far as as I'm going on this journey, I don't have a clear cookie cutter path. But as I'm making steps to get to this freedom, this place of freedom in my finances, I do, I listen to this, I listen to that, and I try to see what I can glean from these different individuals who have either gotten out of debt or created wealth or was able to do what I was able to do, to see what I can apply in my own journey to make it easier, or to just nuggets of inspiration or motivation, or, oh, I never thought about it like that. So I did hear someone say, to get out of debt, you don't focus on getting out of debt, focus on creating income, or, create income. Because focusing on your debt doesn't get you out of debt. But focusing on income, how you can create more income, you can use that to pay off the debt. So don't just focus. And I get where they're coming from. So I want to unpeel that a little bit. I want to unpack that, what I think that they're saying and how I interpreted it. So I tell you to write down a list of all your debts, and that this is Operation Debt Freedom. We're going to look at ways of getting out of debt. I don't want you to solely focus on your debt in order to get out of debt. I want you to know what you are in, because there are people on this earth walking around who are in debt, but they don't know how much debt they have. They just know this arbitrary number. They know they're in debt, but they're not really paying attention to it, and they're not ready to do anything about it. But when you're ready to do something about it and provide a solution, you need to know what the problem is, and then that way you can create a solution, or you can figure out which solution to use, or have the wisdom. You want to count, kind of like counting the cost of something. You want to know what you're dealing with so you can get the proper solution. So I want you to know how much debt you have. I want you to know how much interest you're paying, because another thing I heard was the interest you're paying and even the late fees that you may end up paying on debt is somebody else's passive income. And I never really thought about it like that, but yes, that it is their passive income. I think that was Anthony O'Neill that said that. I think I saw like a post that he did of that. And that makes sense. Just like when we have a credit card and we pay that interest, they're getting 10, 12, 25% interest for us borrowing that money. But when we invest our money, we're getting like less than 1% at the bank. Or if we put it in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, we may be getting 3, 5, 7% return on our investment. But it looks like the credit card companies are getting a higher interest rate than we are. And that interest rate is our passive income. When we invest in something, we get the passive income, we get the dividends. But as of right now, they're making a killing. They're taking all of that interest into their pockets instead of us having an avenue to bring interest into our pockets. And I wonder if that's why God says we should be the lender and not the borrower. But then I think in the Jewish community, they don't charge each other interest. But I think they do charge interest to people outside of their culture. But I have to check that out and make sure. Don't quote me on that. So I don't want us to focus like debt. I don't want you to do that. I want you to know what the situation is. Okay, this is how much we have in debt. This is where we're starting. Now we're going to figure out how to get out of this. What's the first step to get out of this? So we've already talked about that. We talked about making sure you got $1,000 in your emergency fund. So if something comes up, you can use your emergency fund instead of a credit card. And then 2, you have all your debts listed from least to greatest, and you want to pay off the least. And once you pay that off, you take whatever you was paying on that, you will add it to the next one, the next minimum payment, and you will pay that off, continue to pay that until you pay that off. Then you take what you was paying on that card and then take that full amount, add it to the minimum payment of the next card, and make that payment and keep paying until you pay it off. Now, those are the first 3 baby steps of the 7 steps of the Dave Ramsey steps to, I guess you're going to call it, they're called baby steps, but they're baby steps to financial freedom. So there's 7 steps. The first 3 is create an emergency fund. The step 2 is to pay off all your debts, excluding your mortgage. Then the third step is to then start contributing money into your emergency fund to get it up to about 3 to 6 months of expenses. So if you have $4,000 a month in expenses, that's just expenses, not any debts. Your expenses and your mortgage. If it's $4,000 a month, you want to make sure you have $24,000 in your savings account. If you already have $1,000 in there that you have to use, then you need to fund it till you get to $23,000, and then after that you'll start the baby step number 4, which I'm not going to go there yet. If you want to know more information, make sure you go to his website and you pull the 7 baby steps, print them out, and put them on your wall. I don't want you to focus entirely on the debt, but I want you to be mindful of it and focusing on a solution. Okay? We talked about some things you could do. What's in your house you can sell? What's some skills that you can develop? Can you take on a second job? Can you work some overtime? Can you cut out some expenses that you don't need right now? Okay. I know I've sold some stuff. I need to look and see if I can sell anything else. I need to look and see if I can work some overtime. I need to look to see what I can do. I am actively looking for ways to generate extra income to bring into my household. As soon as I find something, I'm posting it here and I want you guys to check it out. If you're looking for an avenue, I want you to check it out, okay? And see if it's something that'll work for you. Because I'm not going to post anything on here that I have not tried. So I will try some things. And when I find something that works, I will post it here and let you know that it works. And I will even go through and post and tell you some things that I looked at. It wasn't really for me, but maybe it'll be for you. That you can go to and check out for yourself. I don't know. But I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep praying for you because we are going to get out of this debt. Also, believe it or not, you will be out of debt. Believe it and receive it. Ask God, please, Lord, get me out of debt. Show me how to get out of debt. Show me how to be good stewards over the money that you have given me. It's already done. We have to wait on His timing. In the fullness of time, it will happen. God is not going to get us out of debt if He knows that you're going to go back into debt and be in the worst position than you are right now. So say right now you have $100,000 of debt, or like us, we have $413,000 worth of debt. God is not going to get me out of debt if I'm going to go back in debt. And now I'm in debt 600,000, 700, 800,000. If I find myself getting right back into the same spot, He wants to make sure we're ready, that we're committed. And this is the process. Every month that we go through this and He gives us the ability to breathe every day, is strengthening us to detest debt. I've heard it said too. I think this was another thing Anthony O'Neill said. He said that there's no such thing as good debt and bad debt. I've heard other people say there's good debt, debt that you buy to invest in order to create an asset. And then there's bad debt, debt that you just wasted your money, right? That did nothing for you. It didn't create anything to bring money back in. You just spent it and now it's gone. And then you got to pay back that thing you bought plus interest on top of that. That's bad debt. He said there's no such thing as good or bad debt. The fact that you owe someone some money, you're in debt. I can agree with that. I agree with both. I agree that you could use debt to help get you out of debt. I agree that there's no such thing as good or bad debt. I'm not sure which one I would lean towards if I had to pick, because I'm still in the process. God is still shaping my mind. He's still wanting me to learn something, and He wants you to learn something too. So don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Because even though it's not happening as fast as you want, and Lord knows I want this to happen a lot faster, it's not happening as fast as I want. But I know that it's going to happen. And He has to trust me that I won't go back into that thing, because He knows the end from the beginning. He knows when I'll be ready to get out of debt, because I get to the point where I am sick and tired and I detest debt. To the point that He'll be like, okay, Michelle, you're getting out of debt because I know you won't go back into it again. Because I know that you taste that bitterness and you don't ever want to taste that again. You know what it's like to be a slave to money like that. And you don't want to go back into that slavery. I know my daughter, and I know when she'll be ready. So when she's ready, she will get out of debt, and I know that she will not go back into it. So I'm waiting for God to build my character, to give me those muscles, those faith muscles, that faith strength, that courage, that decision, that what's the word I'm looking for, Holy Spirit? That deliberate action, oh God, what is that word? That, oh my gosh, y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Where I have that unwavering conviction, that conviction in my spirit that says, I'm not going back to debt. Debt is a slave, and I don't want to be a slave to debt. I want to owe no man nothing but love, and I only want to be in debt to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ because I am his and he loves me. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Get your February monthly spending plan in order. Get it ready and put on the whole armor of God and get ready to fight because the enemy is going to come. Just stay. I mean, you're ready to fight, but you ain't about to use carnal weapons. You're going to use prayer. And you're going to have on the armor of God. You're going to have that shield. And you're going to have that sword, which is your Bible. And you're going to pray. And while you're praying, you're going to do your job, your work. You're going to take care of your family. You're going to be mindful of how you are spending God's money. How you spending God's money. And he will help us. So, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. I love you guys. Till next time, have a great day. Bye.